the alien queen of... Valerian stood upon the obsidian balcony of her celestial fortress as the twin moons rose and cast pale light upon the gathering below. Her warriors knelt. Her banners burned bright with the sigil of the Seraphec's bloodline, yet her gaze was fixed only on the lone human man standing calmly in the center of the hall as if the weight of the galaxy meant nothing. "Who is he?" the queen demanded, her voice echoing through the chamber with a resonance that made even seasoned generals flinch. To her, the stranger looked impossibly insignificant compared to the towering reptilian guardians or the hulking, metallic warborn she commanded. But he stood with a quiet certainty that unsettled her in ways no conqueror ever had. The princess, radiant in her crystalline armor, stepped forward with a smile that held both pride and defiance. "Mother," she said softly, "this is the man I wed." Gasps rippled across the hall. A human, an unenhanced, fragile species, marrying into the royal Seraphec's line was unthinkable. The queen narrowed her golden eyes, scanning the man from head to toe. He did not wear armor, yet carried the presence of someone who no longer needed it. "Why would you choose him?" the queen asked, her tone sharp. The princess lifted her chin. "Because he is not what he appears. Because he is the only being I have met who does not bow before my title. And because the galaxy itself shifts around him." The queen scoffed, but her instincts whispered caution. Ever since the human arrived, strange anomalies had followed. Warlords surrendering without battle, rogue fleets vanishing, ancient AI guardians lowering their weapons in recognition. The queen stepped down from her dais and circled the man. "Speak," she commanded. "What are you?" The man met her gaze with calm, unwavering eyes. "Someone who goes where he is needed," he replied, his voice steady. "Someone who protects those he loves." The queen felt an unfamiliar chill. Something ancient stirred behind his simple words, an echo of power deeper than any weapon she had forged. The princess placed a hand on her husband's arm. "You asked who he is," she said. "And soon you will understand why every empire that once hunted him now hides at the sound of his name." The hall fell, silent as the queen realized. She might not be evaluating a mere human at all, but something far more dangerous, far more legendary. And now, the queen felt a cold shiver drip down the back of her armored spine as she continued to stare at the human who stood before her, now realizing that every breath he made tugged at the shadows of power lurking beyond her comprehension. No soldier of her shad caused such a reaction. Not the emperors of distant galactic empires nor Thadatans built from living metal, but this man, this silent being who stared back at her with calm certain, as if nothing in the world could unravel him. The generals around the throne room pressed closer. There are more coming softly as they whispered in panic, for they who had heard the rumors yet never believed them. The princess stood firm at her husband. Seed, her grip on the hilt for honor, but not fighting yet. She simply waited. The queen's voice cut through the tension like a laser blade. "If he's truly as dangerous as you see, then why has he come here?" The princess smiled the same fearless smile that the soldiers had seen during battle. "Because he no longer hides, and because, mother, you will need him." Before the queen could reply, the ground beneath the palace began to shake it, a loud guttering rumblitude from deep beneath the planet. Scrust, followed by a blinding burst of reddish light that shot into Thesky. The alarms blared across the capital as the NC and planetary Cori guards activated. Something had awakened. The Void Harvester, one shocked commander whispered. But that weapon was sealed millennia ago. The queen's blood ran as cold. The Void Harvester was not weapon in convent ional terms. It was a living cosmic entity that surveyed these Troidor claim and Enteristor clusters when stirred from its hibernation. It should not have been able to break free. The galactic chains alone were enough toward 30 fleets. The human stepped forward at a sound pace. Unhurried, unstressed, as it resonated from the beating heart of the planet. "It awakens Forma," he said softly, but the weight of his voice was 100-fold heavier. "It knows that I'm here." The queen. She sweetened it with horror. "Why would that monster know your name?" The human finally turned fully to face her, revealing a glimmer of Frau, unfiltered energy flickering behind his pupils. "Because," he said, "long before your kind wrote history source or revved empires, I walked among the first civilizations, and I was these placed upon it should it Eras again." Shock crashed over throne room like a storm. The princess did not look surprised. She'd known, "Mother," she said, "them in a married. Is the Sentinel of Eras." The queen, for the first time in her 6,000-year dynasty, felt uncertain. She looked back at the men, who soon would face a monster older than creation itself. Andrea listened the truth. She hadn't just gained a son-in-law. She had gained the one defender who could keep her empire from falling into the darkness and now rising from below. The ground quaked again. But this time the palace walls did not merely shake. They flexed, groaned, and began to crack under the cosmic pressure pouring upward from the planet. Score, the Queen Centauri Guard Regiment, drew their weapons, their faces a shade off to roar unseen through the Empire's extensive history. For nothing in their training had ever prepared them for their surrection of the Void Harvester. The princess stepped closer to her husband, fear flickering only for a moment before Troost replaced it. She reached for his hand, but he was already walking forward, untouched by the chaos surrounding him. The air began to hum with energy, so intense it made the stones beneath their tin boots ripple like water. The queen cried out, "Sentinel of Eras, or you whatever name you carry. If you can stop this, you must." But the human, now something far more, didn't answer with words. Instead, he walked toward the throne room center, raising his hand just as ancient glyphs began to burst from beneath the floor, spiraling into the light above them. The glyphs were older than every civilization in the galaxy, markings from age when creation was still raw and shapeless. The Void Harvester roared below, the kind of sound that should not have been possible for physical ears, but it didn't break the sentinel. Instead, its roar only strengthened his resolve. He sunk his feet into the splintering flora and let the symbols engulf him, his shape outlined by energy older than the stars. The princess watched with both love and aching fear as she began to unravel the cosmic bindings within himself. Those ancient chains left there for the day he would need to confront this beast again. The queen realized with devastating clarity that this human had been living a life of quiet exile, pretending to be ordinary only to protect hers from the terrible truth of his existence. Then the world split open. A pillar of void light shot upward through the rotundo, shattering the ceiling and piercing the skies above the capital. And from that rend came formless limbs, massive as towers of black gas and glowing ends. The Void Harvester in full summon. The queen's army retreated instantly, but the sentinel did not move toward them. Instead, he moved toward the monster. "I see you," he said softly, though no sound was needed. Entity Hardit's historic warden, and stand again. The Void Harvester struck first, its strike capable of crushing mountains, but the sentinel raised his hand and absorbed the blow, the rippling effect bursting outward like an expanding star. The princess cried his name, but he only turned back Tasher, smiling with a strange mix of peace and sorrow. "Remember me," who said in her voice only. And then the ski itself tore open as she tackled to the colossal reacher back into the dimensional rift from which it came. Light flooded the planet. All colors, all energies, blinding everyone, fort and full heartbeats. And then it was over. Thrift sealed. The glyphs vanished. The sentinel was gone. The princess fell to knees, silent rage and sorrow twisting inside her. But when she stood, Hermather approached and placed a crown, shaped hollow piece in her hand. "He will return," the queen said quietly. "Beings like him never fade. They wait, and as the moons rise." Egan. The galaxy knew a new legend had been born. The human the princess wed. The guardian who fell into the darkness of other light would live.